All right. Kim Bokamper is on the Toyota of Hollywood hotline. Before we talk football, I remind you the best place to get geared up with Canes or Dolphins merch is Caneswear in Davie or online at caneswear.com. Bo, famously part of the Dolphins killer bees. That was a defense that you would write home about. I mean, that was that's not exactly what we've
Bo can play
seen.
some
Now you
football
see him. Now you see him on CBS 4. He was hot, too, after the first 2 games of the season. I saw a post that he made on social media. I think it was after week 2. Like, Bokamper was hot after the first couple games. What about last night, Bo? You can't be super disappointed after that performance last night, can you?
Well, first let me say that it's been a long time. I thought I was banned from the Solana Hockman and Crowder show that I wasn't going to be on. So I'm glad you got me off for this one. So
we do shadow ban people from time to time. We don't tell them why, but we do shadow ban people. And you noticed it. You were shadow banned, but it was Jimmy.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Yeah, with Jimmy. Yeah. I have a hard time talking to Jimmy. I think most people probably have a hard time talking to Jimmy.
Hey, Bo, I just want you to know I voted against you coming on.
y'all remember how big Bo is? Y'all better leave Bo alone now. Bo get his hands on you.
Hey, you keep messing with Keon Smith on the air. I don't think you remember how big he is.
So to answer your question, I think last night could have gone a lot of different ways. Certainly the game in Indianapolis was just a disaster of epic proportions. I don't know that I've ever seen a game that was so putrid as that game. And then you saw a little light at the when you come back for game 2. And, you don't win the game, but you kind of saw that offense, kind of saw the big play come back into the game. And so last night, I think they were a 12-point dog, have given a point one way or the other, or a half point one way or the other. And no one really gave them a chance. I think I think a couple of things. I think Mike McDaniel called a hell of a game last night. And I think they kind of went away a little bit from trying to be a cute team with these little different plays, and just went back to playing football. Let's put our hand in the dirt. Let's block. Let's tackle. Let's get physical. And I think they did. They ran the ball a lot, and they ran the ball well. And so maybe there's a light at the end of the tunnel. And so they got about 10 days before the Jets come to town, and we'll see where it goes from there.
And Bo, I know you've seen it because I saw it. The interception at the end, people are acting like this is the square root of 3 or some conjuncture mathematical problem. Tua didn't see them jump into cover 3 when the safety rolled down, and he threw it right to the curl player, where the linebacker goes hook to curl, 3 went to the flat, you push to the curl. Like, is it just Tua didn't see the coverage? Because everybody's trying to make this like it's this big ordeal. That was an easy thing to see.
So we've been during the preseason when I was doing the color on the preseason games. We go into the production meetings, and we were talking to Zach Wilson about Mike McDaniel's offense. He says, well, it's a little scary because at some points he says, look, you need to trust that the receiver is going to be where he's supposed to be, even if it means throwing it as a strong safety or a safety. When you don't see the receiver in sight. And so that's part of Mike's offense is like, throw it at that safety and just expect that the receiver is going to undercut the safety and catch the football. So I think that to me brings a lot of, whoa, I don't know if I want to do that into that. So I think it may be a part of what Mike's teaching. It may be a part of look, he's had, 3-4 interceptions in the first 3 games. And they just happen. Sometimes they just happen, it just seems to happen a little more. And I thought Tua, for the most part, had a pretty good game, fumbled a snap one time and then had the interception. But I think the disturbing thing is it just happens too many times, doesn't it? Yeah. you're there, you feel good, and all of a sudden it's like even the week prior, you go into that game, and you've got it. You can win that game, and the next thing you know, he throws it to the other team. So, it's you got the one thing now with football, NFL, college football, any Tom, Dick, or Harry can get on these sites where they show you the game films of the all 22 or whatever they call it, and they become geniuses in schematics, right? And so I don't pay much attention to that chatter. I really don't.
Bo, I'm interested to kind of get your take on the defense in terms of, we know week 1 against Indy was just it was a disaster. I mean, the Colts scored on every possession, and I think last week on Sunday
sums it up. That's a good disaster.
No, but Bo, on Sunday against New England, it started that way as well, and then finally there seemed to have been some momentum defensively, and then yesterday the exact same thing happens on the defensive side of the ball where. And I know you're going up against the Bills. Like, it's Josh Allen. I get that. But they look like a different defense in late second quarter and then in that third quarter as well. Did you see any adjustments that Weaver made? Was it just guys making plays finally? Like, what changed to where they were once again getting gashed and then they were getting stopped consistently?
Well, there's a couple things on that. I think, Channing, when you look at schematics of football, all these teams now have come. They start out with like 2 down linemen, 2 tackles, and that's the only people that have their hand in the dirt. You got 2 outside rushers because they're so hell bent on putting pressure on the quarterback that they're willing to abandon a lot of different things that you need to do in the scheme of a defense. And so you've got 2 big guys that are supposed to anchor the middle of the line of scrimmage. And then you got 2 pass rushers on the outside, and they're standing there, Channing, in pass rush stances, right? Mm-hmm. Staggered feet, ready to rush the pass. And then all of a sudden, when the run comes, especially if it comes from the guard outside, now they've got to stand up. Now they've got to set the edge. Now they've got to do all these things, but they got to do it out of a staggered stance. It's like going from a pass rush. Oh shoot! I gotta square up a little bit and play the run. And I think that's been a little bit of issue. And look, it's not Anthony Weaver's not the only guy that's playing that kind of thing. Everybody seems to be playing it. But I think what happened last night, because in the first quarter it was the same old story. In the first quarter, you couldn't stop them. And then I think what they started doing, they started bringing in more. They went more to more of a traditional 3-4 kind of a look, where you put a nose tackle in there, two tackles or two tackles or ends, whichever you can call it. What do you want to call them now? And I think that's what. But you're right, Salon. In about the middle of the second quarter into the second half, I thought they played more the way we expected them to play at the beginning of this season. And look, the other thing is, they're rotating a lot of guys in there. And a lot of guys they're rotating are rookies, the young rookies, the guys that Kenneth Grant, what's it, Phillips, Jordan.
Yeah,
Phillips.
Jalen Phillips.
I keep getting Jalen Jordan Phillips, rotating those guys up. And look, they're rookies. They're going to make mistakes and they're going to have to see things. So I think it's a combination of things, but. To me, I think it's a little schematically tough to play run when you're in a pass kind of situation with only 2 guys inside. But I think putting another guy in there and giving a nose tackle with two defensive ends, I think helped them a little bit last night. But look, that Buffalo offensive line is certainly got to be one of the top 2 or 3 in the National Football League.
And Bo, just to add on to that, like if you look at the top teams now, the Eagles, the Lions, you look at the Ravens, you look at the Bills, they're running the ball. They're playing old school football when Elvis went to the wide open, run and dash and track meet type stuff. And they're going back to when we played, when you were beating people in the head, and it's starting to work and teams got to adjust to it, Bo. But I got to ask you talk about rotation, Bo. Why in the hell is your highest paid 300-pound, 30-year-old, 6'6" D tackle on punt return. He doesn't know how to block a punt. He's never done it in his life, Bo. That upset me more than the interception.
Yeah. Well, there's a couple of things. I noted when we were up in Indianapolis for the first game. I noticed at one point they were dropping Kenneth. I saw it one time. They dropped Kenneth Grant into coverage from an inside tackle position, and he kind of stumbled over the receiver. It was a back that caught the ball. And I'm going, what you're dropping? First of all, the guy's a rookie. Second of all, you're dropping a defensive tackle in like a zone blitz kind of a situation. That to me was odd. So I don't know. I don't know what they're trying to do with some of these defenses. But, I think last night, and I think what I said going into the game, if you want to win this game, let's not try to trick anybody. Let's just go back to old school football where you all block, you tackle, you get physical, and just let that be your calling card. Instead of trying to, do some scheme or scheme this and scheme that, and trick them along the way. And I think they I think they maybe leaning a little bit more that way now than what they started with earlier in the season. And, hopefully they continue to do it because look, they got offense, they got rookies coming in on offense. You got Ollie coming in. You got Savaianai in there. You've got some other guys that are coming in there on offense. Defense, you've got a bunch of rookies. And look, they're just look. I think it's a good thing to get them in there, but they're going to make mistakes. And so part of what's happening too, I think, is the growing pains you're seeing with a number of young guys that you're hoping to be your future, and they're stumbling around a little bit right now. But going back, I kind of lost it. I kind of got out of the way, but. So anyway, you have Zach in there, and Zach just, what Zach's going to try to pummel the long snapper, and then he ran over the guy, which he didn't expect to do. Then he stumbled, and you got a guy that's 330, 340 pound, whatever he is, kind of on one foot stumbling down. It's hard for a guy like that to gather himself and get out of the way. And I think he just, it's one of those things where he just ran into the kicker and. But unfortunately, again, you do it at a time that you couldn't do it.
Kim Bokamper, you are no longer shadow banned from the show. You have proven yourself worthy. Jimmy, will you agree to remove the shadow ban of Kim Bokamper?
I agree.
All right. Jimmy has signed off on it, Bo, so we'll have you
Jimmy, thank you very much. I appreciate that. And I love the entree to the show with you being the conduit.
Thank you.
Look at that. You made his day, Bo. That was very nice of you. Is Monday night, a week from Monday against the Jets, a must win, or are we beyond must wins already in this season? Like, let's just get through the season.
But look, if you lose to the Jets somehow, you will have lost to everybody in the AFC East, which completely takes you out of any chance of winning the division. No chance of winning the division. And it puts you in a situation where you're going to be struggling the rest of the way just to get a wild card spot. And so, and look, that again, as I said, I thought Mike called a really good game. But if you lose to the Jets, you go 0-4, you go 0 for the division. Something's got to give at that point.
Yeah, that would probably be a breaking point. We'll talk to you throughout the season, Bo. We appreciate it.
Bye, guys.
There you go. Kim Bokamper. Always enjoy talking to him. I don't know why we haven't had him on more, but it's, I think, because of Jimmy.
Damn, Jimmy.
All right, Hard Rock Bet.
Cool, Jimmy.
I talk about the Hard Rock Bet app every day on this show. If you haven't downloaded it yet, make today the day.